Hi y'all, welcome to Learning with Leisurelist. My name is Ashley Gregory. I'm a makeup artist and esthetician. Today we're going to be talking about some ways that you can minimize your makeup routine and maybe look a little bit better for some of your Zoom calls. These are things that you don't have to do or you could do just to shave some steps off if you're a full glam girl. By all means do you and be full glam because that's what you're used to seeing yourself. But I know a lot of my clients have reached out to me and mentioned that their routine is different now and they don't want to go full on for a 1 hour meeting on a Zoom. So I'm going to tell you some little things that you can do to help reduce your time and your product also. I do want to start out by saying that this is like my version of Naked and Afraid. I have never been in front of a camera like this with no makeup on, so please bear with me if I get a little jumbled up or anything like that. It's going to be fun, but it is a little bit nerve-wracking. I wanted to start by telling a little bit about myself and my background. I grew up in Northwest Arkansas, and I went to college here. And during college, I started doing makeup for my friends and family for special occasions, and about halfway through, I kind of wondered what I was doing, and I decided to pursue the call to pack up my Honda, move out west, just like the Kenny Chesney song. I had more shoes in there than I knew what to do with. And unlike the Kenny Chesney song, I had nobody's American Express, and I had $1,000 to my name, which is a whole nother story, but was gone within 3 days. So anyways, I moved out there to go to makeup school, and the school was amazing. It taught me all different aspects of the makeup industry as far as beauty, sanitation, theatrical makeup, how to do makeup for production work, how to do special effects, what people expect for runway makeup, and your behavior backstage for doing runway makeup, and things like that. So I did that makeup school for a year, and after about 4 years, I felt like I was spinning my wheels out in LA. And so I decided to go back to school to get my esthetician's license. The makeup thing was just a certificate, so I couldn't really work in a salon or anywhere like that. So I furthered my career, went to school. I thought I would love doing skincare, and while in esthetician school, I realized I really liked doing waxing. So I did an internship for waxing and learned brows, brow tinting, and full body waxing. When I came back here, I worked freelance for a little bit, and after a couple of years, I was asked to work at Fresh Hair Salon, and I was there for 4.5 years until just recently I opened my own studio in Fayetteville, and it's called Ashley Gregory Beauty, and that's where I perform my makeup services when I'm not on location, and waxing and brows and lashes. And so that's a little bit about me and how I got started. Just like with anything, I think that starting out with skincare is really important. Our skin changes a lot over time, and you'll realize the damage you've done way later. And so I wanted to name a couple of my favorite products. One of them is the Skin Medica's TNS. It is great to kind of help repair some of the damage you've done. It's great for anti-aging, wrinkles, fine lines. I feel like I have bigger pores, and it's helped minimize that. And I also have had some people ask about hyperpigmentation, because as you get older, we get these spots on our skin that is a lot of times sun damage coming through from when we were younger, or also acne scarring, things like that. So I use the Litera 2.0 for a skin lightening product, and I really like that. Skin Medica is one of those things where I feel like I traded in my firstborn, and I'm lucky because I don't have one yet, so I can afford to pay a premium for skincare. But I do think it really does perform as it says, so I really do love it. And I get my skincare from all the girls at Revive Med Spa. I love them. They take care of me. As for eye cream, I like this First Aid Beauty. It has retinol in it, and it has green tea extract and some different things, caffeine and things like that for under your eye. Really, nobody is too young or too old to start eye cream. And another one of my favorite products from First Aid Beauty is lip balm. This intensive what is it called? Ultra Repair Intensive Lip Balm. I've been using this for a little while now, and anytime I put this on anybody's lips, they literally ask what it is because it's not greasy. It smooths out your lips. My boyfriend actually loves it, and he tried to take mine, so then I had to buy another one. But it's great for male or female. And also, whenever you're talking on a Zoom or in front of a camera in any capacity, you will realize that your mouth starts to get dry. So I think that putting on a balm, a chapstick, something to start out is great so that you don't feel that. And so I always, whether I'm starting a makeup application or for this specifically, like you want your moisture on your lips so you don't get hung up on that. So yeah, so that's kind of how I start everything out. And you can get the First Aid Beauty products from Ulta or Sephora. And I think that's all. I'm really bad at online shopping and in-store shopping, really. I don't know. I tried to just not do any of it because I spend too much money. So I tried to like have a list and not deviate too much. But to get started with the makeup, so aside from the skincare, to start with the makeup, I generally start everyone's makeup doing eyes. And you don't have to do this. I do find it helps me whenever I do more dramatic looks, but with what we're doing today, it doesn't have to be this way, but I'm just going to do it. So, well, I lied. Really first, I'm going to start with my makeup primer because it likes for you to have it on for 5 minutes. So if I do this first and let it set, then we can start with my eyes. And this is Water Balm by Sonia Roselli. She has an esthetician studio and she's a makeup artist in Chicago. I think these products are really amazing from her. She doesn't have a ton of products, which I think is great because that means she's honed in and focused on and become a pro at what she did put out, and I really respect that. They give you a little spatula with it, which I also appreciate. So I'm going to go in and put, it says about a nickel-sized amount, and I'm just going to put it on the back of my hands. And I know everyone's concerned with germs right now, and it's completely accurate. So just make sure you wash your hands before you start. That way you're not touching, we are going to be touching our face here, and I will use brushes and stuff like that, but I did wash my hands right before I started. So this product, they tell you to put it in between your fingertips and then kind of get it on your face and tap it in. Ooh, got my hair. And it's just kind of a different motion. You probably won't be able to see what it does, but the water kind of beads up, and that's when you know you're doing it right. And you can use this under the eye and put concealer over it, which I really do like. And then anything you do, make sure you're getting it on the neck. And I'm a firm believer in rubbing up on the neck because gravity's pulling everything down already, and we need to keep everything perked up if we can. So I'm doing all that and then just kind of letting this set in. Ooh. Okay. And then for my eye makeup primer, so I'm using something that it can be used multiple ways, and it's a paint pot by MAC Cosmetics. They have several colors, which is great because we're all not the same color. So I wanted to show you a few. The one I use for my skin tone is called Painterly, and it's supposed to be a nude beige. It will cover, it's technically a cream shadow with color, and it sets. So this color is kind of similar to my skin tone, and that's what I'll be using today. But as you can see, I have some pinkness and beiginess to my skin. So this one complements my skin best. If you have more of a yellow undertone, they have a color called Soft Ochre, and it's more yellow. As you can see, it looks really yellow on here, but it doesn't translate that well, or that way on the skin. Laying Low is if someone were darker than me, but kind of in that beige realm, this is a great color. And then if you have a deeper skin tone, they have a color called Quite Natural. And it seems very dark, but it's really not. And I've even used this on my eyes to give myself like a smoky eye. And so you really can use them all, but they're great for priming the eyes for eyeshadow and also getting rid of any discoloration. So I'm going to start with the Painterly. That is my color. And I'm just going to scoop it out of here and put a little. This product really tends to work best if it's warmed up on the back of your hand. It can be kind of tacky and sticky. And so once you put it on the back of your hand, it'll kind of warm up to that 98 degrees that we are. And I'm going to take a synthetic brush. Really, you could use kind of whatever you have. And I'm just going to, with professional products or anything, start with a little. A little goes a long way, then move on. Because we can always add, but you know how it is to take things away. It just becomes a mess sometimes. So I'm going to get in here and kind of start with along my lash line and kind of blend everything up. And it's going to look crazy too at first because it's going to seem like I have white eyelids. But just get in there. In this dark crease right here, we all have it. Our thinnest skin on our body is around our eyes. And then we also have this vein that runs up here and it's dark. So if you ever wonder why this little part is so dark on you, that's why. So I just try to make it as smooth as possible. Then I'm going to do the other side. It does cover so well. It has great coverage. And like I said, it doubles as an eyeshadow color. So I'm going to be using it as basically my eyeshadow color as well. I might have totally skipped over this. I'm not really sure because I kind of am blacking out right now. And I don't remember if I mentioned it, but for the Zoom calls and everything, lighting is kind of everything. So make sure if you are set up for this that you are in a place where you're getting good forward-facing light. I've been kind of calling some of my friends to test out Zoom and see what it's like for them. And those can lights that come up above have been giving everybody these insane dark circles. They look, like skeleton. They're like there's nothing there. It's like blackout. So try to get as much forward-facing light if you can. And right now, I know everybody's situations are different. But set something up if you are going to be doing Zoom calls every day. You might have a lamp in a weird place, but just put it up so that you can get some of that light and look your best if you can. And like right now, we have a desk with 2 computer monitors and a fold-out table that I'm actually working on in our living room, and it's not the norm, and we're just working with it right now. So after I put the paint pot on, I set it with translucent powder. And the translucent powder I'm using is RCMA's No Color Powder. It's my favorite. And it's about $12 for 3 ounces, which is insane for a makeup product. And then once you dip it in, you tap it off and try to get that excess off. And generally, mine actually didn't crease too bad, but my eyeshadow will crease. I am an oily skin type usually. And if I don't set my eyelids, everything will gather right through here. And I'm just kind of feeling that out, making sure it set. And then also another tip for the Zoom calls, and we all know angle is everything. I set this up as best I could to not see my double chin, but I totally know that if you're typing and doing some things, you've got to be in a setup that's functional. So just do your best there, but angles make a difference as well. So after I set my eyeshadow primer / eyeshadow color, and I can see over here it didn't get blended all the way. I'm actually going to use a bronzer to be the crease color on my eyelid. I'm trying to pick some products that I can use twice, so that's kind of helping cut back on some different things. And this one is just a little sample of Hoola bronzer, and most people know about it. And I meant to say this at the beginning, but since I am using a lot of products and a lot of product names, I'm not sponsored at all. These truly are my favorites, and they have some wear and tear. They've been loved. So I'm going to take a brush that is one of these Real Techniques brushes, and I really like them for an affordable option, especially if you want to get your child a brush set, or if you just want to get something that you're not really worried about. Maybe it's your trap to travel with. I know we're all hard on those types of things, so some stuff I don't really care. If it works, I don't care if it's a drugstore brand or if it's a high-end brand. I like what I like. So I'm just going to dip in this bronzer. Yes, I think we'll put a list up after this of what I use, and if not, I'll at least do it on my Instagram page. I have a little list over here, but I'll type it up cute for you. And I'm going to put the bronzer here, and so when you dip your makeup brush in product, it's saturated or has a lot of product on it. You can tap it off, but no matter what, the first place you put this brush is where the most product is going to be. With my eye shape and with me, I'm trying to create a little bit of depth here on my eyes. I'm going to put it here to kind of sink. I kind of want to give a crease look. Since my eyelids are all one color, it kind of looks like it's a little flatter than what I want it to look like. And you don't have to use a bronzer to do this. You can do this with a regular eyeshadow. Just like I said, I'm going to try to use a few products where I'm not doing a bunch of different things. We just have a few that we're picking from. Because that's one of the most fun things. And truly, everything I'm doing today is stuff I've done on the go, especially when I travel. A lot of times for myself, I don't know why, because you would think like makeup would be the number one thing, but I just like assume that my personal makeup is packed and ready to go, and it's not, and I always forget something every trip I take. So I've had to learn how to make certain items multifaceted, and that's kind of some of the inspiration for this. Oh, and there will be the list of beauty products as well, so by Leisurlist, because they're really great at doing all this. They're professionals. So as I'm going, and the things for blending, I like to use the motion of windshield wipers to kind of get it across where I want. And then you can do Cheerios to kind of blend it out if you want to get it a little more diffused in those areas. But like I said, I just wanted to create a little bit of depth in my eye, so I didn't look all the same. And I feel like that looks pretty even. So there is that. And I want to show y'all something kind of scary. I know some people are afraid of using eyelash curlers, but I want to say that recently I took off my eyelash extensions, so I'm having to go back to using this guy because it's so important. So I don't know if you can see it but from the side, my lashes are a little shorter than they normally would be, and they're kind of straight. And having lashes really opens up your eyes. So I'm going to take my blow dryer and just warm up this little guy, kind of like it would be a curling iron. Just be really careful not to get it too hot because it will burn your eyelid. So I'm going to do that really quickly. But this is one of my favorite things to do is to heat up an eyelash curler because it works really well. Test it on your wrist before you stick it on your eye or you'll regret it. And then get it on there. So most people see people do this. Turn it all the way up and make sure none of your eyelashes are caught from the bottom. So turn it up this is how it's intended to be used, and I pump it 3 times. I know if I look weird in this one eyeball, I apologize for giving you a wonky eye. But see, look at my 2 different eyes. Like, look how much better I look with this one. So before I had lash extensions, I wouldn't leave home without curling my lashes. And we're doing this again because I just look sad without curled lashes. And, you know, obviously when you go in for that first squeeze, gently pinch it so you don't hurt yourself, and then pump it, and then let it back down. And there, I'm back, y'all. But I wanted to show you guys, it was really important to me to show y'all the difference that, like, I don't wake up like this. So that's how it's done. And 2 of my favorite drugstore mascaras, which I buy a lot of mascara because I go through it a lot. I usually have to buy a tube every week or 2 for my makeup kit. And generally I do Voluminous or the Lash Paradise, which they're both from L'Oreal. The Voluminous doesn't give me as much length, but I can feel it getting all of my hairs. And then for the Lash Paradise, you kind of get length and volume. So I'm going to use the Lash Paradise. And then I usually kind of try to like get off that excess here at the front. When doing mascara, I like to kind of look up and, you know, wiggle it back and forth. Actually, I might show y'all the difference between both of these mascaras because they are different. That way you can decide for yourself what you like. This one has a tendency to clump a little bit more, which is not my favorite, but I still like the overall look. And then this one is just the voluminous one. But this guy's been my go-to for years. So you wiggle and pull up. Oh, I definitely got some on my eyelid over there. So one trick, and honestly doing mascara on myself again is kind of a learning curve because like I said, I had lash extensions for 2 years. I hadn't taken them off. So it's kind of different for me again to relearn how to do this stuff on myself. But if you get mascara on your skin like I did, I don't know if you guys can see it because it kind of looks like eyeliner, and I kind of might like make it part of my art. If you get mascara on your skin, let it dry. Resist every temptation to go for it. Do not touch it. And let it dry, even if it's the last thing you do. And then you can flip it off with either, I usually like to use a synthetic, like a little concealer brush, or a dry Q-tip. Either will work, and it won't totally wreck your makeup. But if you go for it right when you smudge it, you will wreck your makeup. I've tried it 1,000 times. So, so we did that. Let's see here. I have to check my notes because I get distracted easily. Okay, so we did all that, and then I wanted to show you a little trick in that I love to tell people about. And I had one of my clients tell me that she didn't want to waste her good makeup for these Zoom calls. And she wanted to know what I suggested. Well, 1, you could buy a drugstore makeup and use it. 2, you can cut your makeup with moisturizer and make your own tinted moisturizer. So for the sake of today, normally like right now, and my favorites change all the time, but my favorite foundation is this Dior Air Flash. I don't spray it on my face because I do my eyes first so it can kind of get everywhere, but I do spray it on my hand or in like a solo cup, and I work out of it. But personally, this is what I use. So it doesn't really, you probably could make it a tinted moisturizer, but it doesn't really work that way. So I have been wanting to try the Maybelline Fit Me, and I logged into their website and did their color matcher thing, and it was really quick. It took just a couple minutes, and this was one of the shades they selected. They actually suggested, like I mentioned before, I have pink in my skin, and I know that. As much as I want to be a bronzy tan goddess, That is not who I am. And it looks funny if I put yellow on my face, because since I have a pink undertone, what do pink and yellow make? Orange. I do not want to look like an Oompa Loompa, and therefore I do not wear yellow-based foundations. So that's one thing on color theory. We don't have to go super into depth on that, but I'm giving this a try, and I really like it. I've been using it for a little bit, and I really, really do like it. So aside from the fact that the price point is a lot lower than my Dior, I could either be using this, or we can make it into a tinted moisturizer by using a little bit of the primer or any moisturizer you have, and then I'll mix in a little bit of this. So I've got my little trusty palette here, and I'm gonna mix. I'll show you guys what I do, but I'm gonna mix just a little bit of that primer, moisturizer. This Sonia Roselli product is supposed to be kind of like an all-in-one. They say it can be your moisturizer, your toner, your primer, your everything. So I really do love it for a lot of reasons. I'm gonna mix that, and then I'm gonna shake the foundation. I'm glad I'm amusing you all, because I think I'm funny sometimes. Sometimes I don't think I'm funny, but it's true. And then I'm gonna kind of scoop this guy out a little bit. And the cool thing about making your own tinted moisturizer is you can control how opaque, if you want full coverage, wear your foundation plain. If you want maybe medium coverage, put a little moisturizer in it. If you really don't want much, like if you really just barely want coverage, just take a little bit of this and, put it more in that. But it just matters your ratio. I'm actually going to take some of this and mix it into that. And if you guys don't have a cool little palette like I do, find one of these bad boys. I found this, and I will give it to whomever needs it. But I need a CD player first to find out what Various Goodness was about, because I can't recall my homemade CD. And I have a whole box of them that I've been begged to get rid of. So I'm happy to give out free makeup palettes if anyone needs one. But also, wipe it down with alcohol, at least 70% alcohol, before you put makeup on it and then put it on your face. Because this is probably from my road trip to LA, so there is no telling how old it is, but at least 2005. Okay, so back to this. Anyway, so mix this up. Just get it in there. And kind of making a mess everywhere. I'm going to show you both ways. Some people apply makeup with a brush, some with a sponge. As far as me doing makeup on clients, I can't really use the sponges on people unless you bring your own, because I can't sanitize them properly. So I'm really used to working with brushes, and I've worked with brushes for a long time and had to troubleshoot, because things don't look the same. A lot of times your tools do make a difference. So I'm going to show one side of my face with this Sephora Pro Foundation brush. And I kind of like that it's, I don't know what you call that, graduated. And then I'll show you the other side of my face with the Beauty Blender. And so generally I like to start foundation with the center of the face. I tend to be most rosy on my cheeks. Some people have a lot of redness or discoloration, throughout here. So I usually start heaviest and blend out. So I'm going to do that. And I learned that the Fit Me that I bought the matte poreless, because I wish I'm a more oily skin type. So I wish, my skin stayed more matte, and I would hope to have like the flawless smooth skin. So I did notice that with that formula, and they do have another one that's a little more, I think it has some shimmer in it. I don't like to get matte stuff right under my eyes, because it kind of sometimes can dry, and it can make your fine lines look a little more pronounced. So we're going to go with concealer over that anyway. So I'm not really worried about getting all up in my under eye. Just kind of going around my brow. If you get on it, it's okay, because I have some brow products too to show some little tips on how to fill those bad boys in. I feel like with the Zoom calls and with videos, people are really either looking at your eyes or they're looking at your mouth. So I would focus, at least me, I would focus on those things to kind of highlight and accentuate. I don't know. It just seems like if that's what people are looking at, that's what you want to show them. And then I always kind of blend it down on the neck, so your head's not a different color than the rest of your body. And then, as I mentioned, I'm going to swap over to the Beauty Blender. Now with the Beauty Blender, it's a different kind of application. You're going to have to bounce it. And I really do love these things. I think that there's nothing like making the product one with your skin than a damp beauty blender, because you're just kind of, I don't want to say pushing it into your pores, but it definitely goes on there more smoothly in a different kind of way than a brush. And this is still just Tinted Moisturizer that we made, working off of this palette. But I was running out. So you can see that my brush side looks heavier, and then the sponge side looks a little less. So I'm going to add a little more foundation. Man, time flies when you're having fun, because it's already 5:30 and I really didn't think I would take this long. Going back through here. But one of my favorite things about the foundation is it really is just that you're having to buy two products. Instead of having to buy, you know, a full coverage foundation for like your going out times, your special occasion, and then having your everyday, like just buy the full coverage or medium to full coverage one, whatever your highest amount of what you want. Start with that and then cut it with the moisturizer to make it more of your speed for the Tinted Moisturizer. So there is that. And then let me put the lid on this so we don't have a disaster. So for my eyebrows, I wanted to show you one of my favorite products is the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara. And it's really quick in a pinch. Also, if you're getting any gray eyebrows, this helps, and it'll kind of cover them up and make them a little bit less noticeable. Gray eyebrows are a beast, really, and it's hard to deal with them. So with this, I kind of like that feathered brow look that is popular right now. So I just go in and cover my eyebrow and get that foundation-y look off of it and feather them up. And it does have a little bit of a staying power, not crazy, but a little bit. And so it'll hold your brows in place for the rest of the day if you need to. And I'm going to take a little bit of that foundation I have. I kind of went out of bounds here and just kind of clean that up. So I also have been having some issues with brow loss. If you can see this cute little hole I have. And I'm going to go in with a pencil and try to fill my gaps. I don't know if everyone would notice this on a Zoom call, but in real life day to day, I can't live like that. So, and I'm elongating it just a little bit. I did have someone reach out to me and ask me what to do about their eyebrows right now because you're not able to see a professional. So I wanted to mention that if you are going to tweeze at home without your esthetician or your cosmetologist or whomever takes care of your brows, I recommend filling them in first, and then whatever's outside your lines, you're allowed to tweeze. If it's near the color, don't tweeze it. You might be going too far. And guess what? You always have tomorrow. If he's still bothering you tomorrow, you can tweeze him out. So generally whenever I do eyebrows, and I'm just going to go over this really quickly because I'm actually working on a video for eyebrows on my own page, so that will be up in a few days. But generally when I do eyebrows, I work from the inside corner of your nose, the little dimple notch, and I try to start my eyebrow there. Y'all can obviously see that my eyebrow does not start there. I am a product of the 90s, and really I was born in the 80s, but in the 90s, this girl, when I was starting new school, was like, you don't do your eyebrows, and convinced me to tweeze them, and I overdid it majorly. So I try to start there and just kind of make that be really light and feather back in. So that's kind of my plan and why I measure out a little bit further. Plus, that's the trend right now anyway, is that it's a little closer together of an eyebrow. And one reason why I know you guys have probably seen other makeup videos and stuff like that where they say, like, do your nostril. Well, some people have bigger nostrils than others, and so I don't really like to use that as a guideline, because if I had, my eyebrow would start way out here, and it just wouldn't be a good look. So I like doing that. Let me see, I got it a little bit uneven here. And then the regular stuff is the same. So to do the arch of your eyebrow, go out and through your pupil. To do the end of your eyebrow, go down. And then I do like to diffuse the look with the little spoolie on the end. I'm not super crazy about the really, what do they call it? Like stenciled brow look. That's just not my thing. But you're totally welcome to do it. So we got this guy. And then the other trick I wanted to say, I know if you're blonde, it may not work as well, but in a pinch, when I've forgotten my eyeliner, I take my eyebrow pencil and just barely hit my lash line right here. Just barely. And it gives me a little bit of a definition on my eye. On this eye, it would really be more dramatic to show you, but y'all, I got that mascara over there. So I'm just going to kind of cover it. And I also like the brown eyeliner look for the day-to-day, because I've been, doing black for a long time, but I really do like that it gives you a little bit of a softer look. So that is for brows. So like I mentioned, once you fill these in, if you see, I know I have some wild hairs, I just don't know that you'll be able to see them, but I know I have some hairs through here that they could be taken and nobody would miss them. After that, I'm going to show you concealer. This is also a First Aid Beauty product. It's the Bendy Avocado concealer. It has, it's supposed to be flexible and kind of dry down slowly, but they say it doesn't have to be set with makeup or powder, and that it'll move with you throughout the day. Sometimes under the eye creases, so a little, I would say start with a little, and then I'd still set it slightly, just don't do too much powder. And I'm just going to put this on the back of my hand here. If y'all have been kind of feeling this scenario like myself, I have not been sleeping super well, so I feel like I have some darker circles under my eyes. I do want to color correct first. You don't have to do this for everything, but it does make a difference. I'm going to do one eye with just the concealer and one eye with both so that you can see, but this peach color is great for these kind of like purpley under eyes. So I'm going to show you the difference. And again, I'm just going to use a little synthetic brush and use that peachy stuff. And it's LA Girl. It's super inexpensive. I believe that tube was $3. And I'm just going to start in this darkest part of my eye and work my way out. And this product is a little creamy. It's kind of different. It's not just a concealer, it's a color corrector, and then you put concealer over it. So I am going to kind of tap in with my fingers and level it out. And then on this side, we will just use the First Aid Beauty concealer. And again, kind of getting up in there. And some people do like to use yellow to cancel out. For me, the peach tones work better, but it will depend on your skin tone and the color that you're trying to get rid of, if that makes sense. So go through there. And then on my right eye, I'm going to go through and do the concealer over that to be, make it more look like my skin tone. It's actually hard to tell on here, so. As far as blush goes, I believe blush gives your face life. I naturally have some pink in my cheeks already. But one thing I'm really loving is this Milk Lip and Cheek cream blush. It can be used for both, and I love the multi-purpose things. When I do apply blush, I know cream blush scares a lot of people, and really I think it blends out the most natural. So I usually kind of smile a little bit, and then I put my fingers, 2 fingers, away from my mouth. Because if you draw too much color close to your mouth, I feel like you look like the Joker. And you could look like either Heath Ledger Joker or the new Joker. And it's not a good look. I'm just kind of blending that out with what I used before. Also, in a pinch, you can use lipstick as a cheek color. Do the same thing. It does depend on the lipstick, but I have been in a bind where it had to be my blush. So this is NARS Audacious lipstick, and the color is called Barbara. And I'm just going to blend it out, and I'm going to use that brush too. Generally speaking, on camera, you want to not have the shine. And I do have a pretty bright light in front of me and also a window. But I am going to use that setting powder that I showed you all before. It's in this little tiny guy. And I'm going to just set my whole face. And with the setting powder, it is important to kind of tap back your excess product. And try to not have wrinkles or, if you can, creases while you're setting, because however you set, this is how it's going to stay. So sometimes we have smile lines. I like to blow out the smile line and set it. Make sure you don't have any creases before you set it. And let's see. And that will just kind of finish your look. And then generally, I love this brush, and it also is a Real Techniques one. But to get under my eyes, it's a little too big. So I'm going to swap over to their little dude. I don't know who he is, but he's Real Techniques too. Generally, when I set my under eye, it's the same thing. When I'm looking straight on, I can see right now, I don't know if you all can, that I do have some product crease. So it's easiest if you look up, kind of smooth it out, and then just do your best. And then I'll redip and retap and look up and smooth it out, and just hope that you don't poke yourself in the eye, but you'll get better as you try. Then with this brush only has translucent powder on it. So I'm going to take the Hoola bronzer, and I know everybody's so scared of contouring, so I'm just going to show you really, really quickly. Again, wherever you put this brush first is where the concentration of color will be. And usually we want to look skinnier and all that jazz. So I'm going to touch the brush back here by my hairline and just move it forward. Without dipping my foundation brush into anything else, one great thing that you can use it for, which I know we use it for the blush, but I can flip it over, and if I feel like I have any harsh lines, I can kind of blend them out, but not have to worry, because you know if you put foundation over powder, it can look really cakey and it's obvious, so I try not to do that very much, but I've learned that as long as I don't get it wet again, it's okay. And then I'm going to dip that again, tap it a little bit, and then pull back from here. Again, with the contour, it's the same thing about the Joker. I know you guys have seen people that their contour is like right here, and they either look like a clown or a chimney sweep with like dirt all over their face. So just kind of pulling that product forward. I feel like as far as face shape goes, I have a more square forehead, and then I have an oval jaw. So I want to make my forehead look a little more oval, and I'm just going to lightly shade in these corners here. And that's pretty much, well, pretty much my look. If you want to use powder blush, I know everybody knows how to use powder blush, but this is NARS. NARS is my favorite blush. Put a little of that on. You don't have to use cream blush and powder. You can do whatever you want. Or lipstick, as far as this side's concerned. But see, that it looks pretty good for lipstick. So one little hack I wanted to share was that I know some people are afraid of lip liner, and one of my favorite things to do, it's kind of like the concept of having something that's full coverage, and then you can adapt it to how you need. So I love to use lip liner as almost like a lipstick, and then just put a gloss over it. You could use a tinted gloss, which these NYX Butter Glosses are some of my absolute favorites. I love them. But if you want a little more coverage than that, you can use lip liner. And I picked up this Wet n Wild Gel lip liner, and it's about to be my new favorite. I already know as far as drugstore goes. But this one is Lay Down the Mauves, and mauve tends to be a pretty flattering color on most. Not everybody, but a lot of people. So I'm going to go in and line my lip kind of lightly. Well, not so lightly apparently. But that could be, you know, that's your lip line. Then just go in and lightly feather this stuff in. You can also take a little brush like this little concealer looking one and kind of move that product inward and create a lipstick. One thing I do love doing about this is that almost never, like no one ever gets it on their teeth because it's not like thick lipstick. And then I feel like if you're doing long wear lipstick for these kind of colors, your lips get so dry that it just is uncomfortable and it doesn't really look great. It may look great, but it doesn't feel good. And so I like to do lip liner and then just put some gloss over it. And I love this, aside from the NYX one, a little higher end one is the Smith & Colt gloss. And it is not sticky and it's really pretty. You have to be careful with gloss with camera. Sometimes it can look like way too much. But if you just kind of put it in the center, give yourself a little movement, but you just don't get it on your teeth. And sometimes with lipstick I do, and then I have to blot and do all that jazz. So that is all for my makeup tips. I know there are a few things that some people had asked that I wanted to cover. As for hair, I know a lot of people are struggling right now because you can't see your stylist. And so, sorry, I'm gonna try not to knock everything over. So a lot of people are concerned about grays, and then also with us not seeing everybody, you know, a dry shampoo is a favorite. So two of the products that I got from Fresh Hair, one is my favorite dry shampoo mist. Since I'm a brunette, powdered or spray dry shampoo makes my hair look gray. So I've been searching, and I've used the tinted ones. I could name the names, and I don't need to, but I've used all the lowest end being Batiste and then on up. And even though they say they have color in it, it just doesn't work for me as well. So I really love this Go spiritualized dry shampoo mist. And I know one thing that I'm guilty of is reading directions. And what I do is I'll read the directions like when I get a product, and then I'll have one day go crazy, and I will like throw all caution to the wind and be like, this is how I'm doing this right now, and like run out the door. And then I kind of forget how the product is intended to be used. So sometimes you need to check back and just see. But this, for instance, you want to shake it up and make it cloudy all the way through. And then you hold it about 6 to 8 inches from your head and just spritz it on. You want to get the roots where your oil is. And as I mentioned before, I'm a really oily person. So one way that I extend my blowout or my shower that I've given to myself is to put this in my hair before I go to bed, because it will kind of work through the night while my head is laying against the pillow and I guess just producing oil. It will just kind of absorb it. So when I wake up the next day, it just seems that my hair is fresher. But the directions for this tell you to let it sit for 30 to 45 seconds. And I feel like I've been talking for that long. And then massage it into your scalp. So go through and do that, and it will just kind of give you a little lift. But I just really love it because it doesn't make my hair look gray. Because people, every time like I use powder dry shampoo or spray, a lot of times then the next time they see me, if I freshly washed my hair, they're like, oh, did you get your hair colored? And I'm like, no, I just washed the dry shampoo out. It made me look dull, and I want to be shiny, healthy hair. And so that is one of my favorite products. And the second favorite, which I was lucky enough to get to see my stylist right before all this went down, so I got my grays covered. But if you are in a pinch, the Style Edit is a colored gray coverage spray, and it's kind of powdery. So I'm going to shake it up and kind of show it to you. It's really cool. It has like a pointy nozzle, so you can direct it where you need. And my grays are generally right along. I don't know if you can see any. I actually like shaved a couple of them off that were in my hairline. Don't judge me, but it just seemed like the right thing to do. But kind of shake it up, hold it a couple of inches away, and just spray it into your hair. Sometimes you can get these little splatters and just work them off. It also kind of gives my scalp depth. And you can't tell here, but I have fine hair, and I really don't have a lot of it. And in certain places, my hair looks thin. So by spraying this darker color onto my scalp, it actually makes it look like I have more hair because of the depth and the color. So yeah, like right here, usually I have gray through there, but I'll just spray that on. And you let it dry for at least 2 to 3 minutes. Do keep in mind that like if you need glasses for your computer and then you're like lifting it up and putting it down, you may get the Style Edit on your glasses and then you end up with this on your face. So just be mindful that it is just a temporary powder. It's not dye or anything. It's just gonna wash out when you wash your hair. But that is all, I believe, that I was gonna show you. And I think, well, I've gone basically an hour, so I feel like that's a lot. But we all know how to do like a fun little top knot. Actually, I'm just going to show you really fast because I think it's fun. But I think a top knot is a very classic look for a Zoom call without having to like really do your hair. And your people at work might think you did do something to it. But I like to take a high pony on my head. And these little tiny guys work for me because, as I mentioned, I don't have very much hair. And I really put this just right up top and pull it forward. Then I take, right now, the thing I grabbed was a pick, and I'm using this. And you might not have one of these because it's from the 80s. But I just go through and make me have more hair. And then I will loop it around real quickly and make myself have kind of a messy top knot and secure it with some bobby pins. This is kind of my like regular day look, especially now that my hair's grown out. I just really haven't been putting a lot into my hair, and I've been trying to keep it up off my face so I'm not touching my face every 5 seconds because my hairs tickle so much. But I need one more bobby pin, but it's in the makeup graveyard right now, so I'm not sure where it is. But I think that this is good, and then you can just kind of pull some pieces forward, make yourself look a little, you know, not slicked back, but a little Mulan-esque, and I like this look. So anyways, those are my tips for doing an easy makeup tutorial. I know that this seems crazy and it seems super long, but when you start doing it and practicing it, it really is super fast. And I just wanted to thank you all for sticking with me and being a part of this. I wanted to thank Leisurlist for asking me to do this and being a part of the project. It was really nice to have something to work towards and feel like I am doing something right now, which is a really big deal to me. So thank you, and if I haven't ever met you, I look forward to meeting you in the future. Bye.